Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA, make videos for NFL. NFL's over, but all these videos they get posted on the subreddit. I'll have this link down below. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Anything you possibly need will be in this subreddit. People talk strategy here. You can ask me questions about the slate. Anything you need, I'll have this linked down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right there. So let's get to my lineup from tonight. Yeah, going to be the first night I don't cash in a very, very long time. Luca, I mean, injured, doesn't come back, comes back, gets injured again, loses out on like a 6 minute rotation. Scottie Pippen Jr. injured. Um, Unknown Santi Aldama, really good play by the way. Floor game. That whole Memphis game was just disgusting. It was being played at my elementary school, I guess. Um, every time I play Kobe White, he's just terrible. But yeah, I mean, yeah, gonna be the first one I don't cash in a while. My core did good though. My core was Torrey Craig, Scottie Pippen, Kobe White, and then I told everyone if you want to get to Luca, Luca would be the fourth option as a core play. So yeah, not gonna be a good night. Hopefully you guys had a good night tonight, and it's gonna be a profitable night for me because I nuked props, but yeah. Hopefully you guys had a great night tonight. And if you are interested in more in-depth content where instead of like this video, I give you a more in-depth video. This is just like a general breakdown to give more in-depth video. Cores, night slate videos, showdown videos, cores for all those. Prize picks content. We swept on the video from last night. More prize picks content, sportsbook content. Like today, I just post random stuff. Like today, I posted Daniel Gafford over 19.5 PRA. Just random stuff like that. My Discord link will be down below. So yeah, let's get into the slate. Got a 6 game slate for tomorrow. Kind of a weird one with the times. Going to be interesting because like all the games start at different times, basically besides first lock, and then you have like a 2 hour gap here. So I don't know what that was about, but going to be interesting for sure. Going to be nice to have a night slate that doesn't start 2 minutes after the first game's lock as well. So that's nice, I guess. But yeah, let's get in the slate. Brooklyn at Boston. So these first 2 games are really, really bad as far as like pace wise goes, defensively goes. Boston's really tough. OKC's tough. Orlando's pretty tough. You have Minnesota, who's tough on the slate. Milwaukee, pretty tough. Getting better of late defensively. So, yeah, some games that definitely look a bit unappealing, but still have to consider plays in those games, right? All right, let's go over the slate. So we have Porzingis questionable if he's out. I would assume Al Horford starts at the 5 here. I mean, if he starts at the 5, I think he's a really, really good play at 5.2K. He's going to play big minutes. I would expect low to mid 30s minutes. He's a stat sheet stuffer. He can do pretty much everything, besides he's not going to score a ton, but he can do pretty much everything else. And if we get low to mid 30s minutes from him at the 5, yeah, he's going to stand out as a really, really good play at 5.2K. He would just be too cheap, right? And then if Porzingis is in, I'm not going to play Al Horford. And then, everyone else in this team kind of just looks pretty ugly to me at their price points. I'm not going to go out of my way to play anyone, but my favorite is always just Tatum if I had to pick one. I think Porzingis is priced right. I still think Jaylen Brown's priced right. I think White, Drew are both priced right. If I had to pick one between the guards, it would be Derek White. And then I'm not going to play Horford if Porzingis is in, right? If Porzingis is out, like I said, I love Horford. White, Drew both be playable. Still no standout. Same with Jaylen Brown and Tatum. They would just be a little bit better, but I'm still not going to prioritize anyone here. Peyton Pritchard, Hauser, they'll see a bit more run if Porzingis is out as well, but um, not going to prioritize any of them. All right, moving on to Brooklyn here. Cam Johnson is out. We saw Dennis Schroeder in his debut. And another thing to note here is Day'Ron Sharpe is back for the first time in a while. All right, so with that being said, I think Dorian Finney-Smith, with him starting, is a fair value. He's going to be pretty low usage when he's out there, but he should play decent minutes. Like, I would expect around 30 minutes from him, which on a slate with not a ton of value, I don't think is bad. I actually prefer Dennis Schroeder to Dorian Finney-Smith, honestly. Dennis Schroeder's just a much better point per minute guy. I would expect probably low to mid 20s minutes from Dennis Schroeder. You're going to see DSJ in the rotation, but I'd rather play Dennis Schroeder. And then, Ben Simmons starting at the point, I don't mind at 5.2, at 5.9K. I know he's on a limit, but he's really, really good point per minute. Stuffing the stat sheet. This game was a blowout. Everyone got pulled early. The guys that closed in the blowout were Dennis Schroeder. I think Dennis Smith Jr. closed in the blowout too. Jalen Wilson also did close in the blowout as well. And Cam Thomas played a little bit in the blowout too. So, but that being said, I think everyone's just there for me. Tough matchup. Like, I think I prefer Cam Thomas to Mikal. Claxton at 6'9". We do have Day'Ron Sharpe back. That could hurt his minutes. But if I knew he got his normal run of like 35 minutes, I would like him at this price point. But Day'Ron Sharpe back could hurt that a little bit. Somebody that'll play into this game against. Cool. And then already mentioned Ben on a limit, but still playable in large field tournaments. Then, like I said, Dorian Finney-Smith, fair value. And then I do like Dennis Schroeder at 4.8K for value. All right, moving on, and you'll see Jalen Wilson, those guys in the rotation. All right, OKC, pretty unappealing team here. I think SGA is always just a good spend up, whatever slate he's on. He's always going to be one of the top options. They refuse to price him up as well, so I still think he's a bit too cheap. Going to play big minutes. He's their clear go-to guy. Absolutely dominating usage. Probably going to get you 30-plus points. Probably going to get you 5-plus assists, couple rebounds. So, yeah, I think SGA does look like a pretty good spend up. I think my favorite spend up on the slate is probably going to be Anthony Davis, but yeah, SGA would definitely be right up there with the rest of them. As far as everyone else goes, pretty unappealing here. I think Lou Dort is an okay value. Good defender, can get those blocks, steals, should play over 30 minutes. Okay rebounder, probably get you a couple rebounders. Really just up to if he hits his shots or not. Is when he'll have a ceiling game with like a couple blocks or a steal. So yeah, fine value. And then Giddey not playing enough for me to consider him. Really tough matchup. So like Chet, Jalen, more contrarian plays for me. I don't think I get too much else here. All right, moving on to Orlando. So I don't know what happened last game, but this game went to overtime up against the Bulls, and they just benched Wendell Jr., Jalen Suggs, and Markelle Fultz in the second half after their second half shift. So I'm not sure what that was about. I tried to figure it out. If any of you guys know, let me know. Like I said, I'm human. Sometimes I miss stuff. If you guys know why they did that, definitely let me know. But as far as the first look goes, I think you're probably going to see mid-20s minutes from like Fultz, Suggs, which makes them decent options at their price points. Both, a little bit under a fantasy point per minute guys, like, yeah, decent options. And then Wendell Jr. should usually see around 30 minutes, which also makes him a decent option. And then the main guys, not the best spot, but playable. Isaac will be in the rotation. Like I said, you'll see Cole. They played Cole 30 minutes last game. He closed in overtime as well. Like, obviously, if I knew Cole played even 20 minutes at that price point, I would really like him. But previous to that, he's basically not played much. But the price point's down. You take darts there. And like I said, Jonathan Isaac will be in the rotation as well. Isaac's a good point per minute guy. If he gets extended, fine. Goga Patatse played in overtime. I don't know why. Don't know what that was about. I really don't. All right, moving on to Miami. This team is going to be very, very thin. Duncan Robinson questionable. I would expect him to play here, but with that being said, I would assume starting lineup would be something like Tyler Herro at the point, Bam Adebayo, Caleb Martin, Jamie, and Duncan would be my guess. Or they could start Highsmith, I suppose. But with that being said, I think there's a lot to like here. I really, really like Tyler Herro at 6'9". Bam's going to have to do everything for this team. I like him a ton. Definitely some foul trouble risk, though. Caleb Martin, I think, is very, very safe at 5K. He's going to have to play a ton of minutes. I like him. Jamie, I really, really like at 4.5K. Duncan, I think, is a very, very good value. Kevin Love has been getting back up 5. He might even have to play some 4s. Like, I'm intrigued by Kevin Love. Highsmith's going to have to play a ton of minutes. I think he's solid for value. He's very, very low usage, but he's going to have to play a decent amount. And then we'll see. They might have to add someone in the rotation. We'll see. But, yeah, this team looks great. They're going to be very, very shorthanded. Moving on to Milwaukee. So with Middleton out, you've seen Jay Crowder move into the starting lineup. I think, the main guys look fine. Like, Giannis always going to be a top spend up for me. I do give the edge to Anthony Davis point per dollar going up against Detroit, but I think Giannis would be my second favorite spend up on the slate. Dame, I think is priced right at 8.9K. Bobby Portis is overpriced. Brook Lopez, you guys know the drill with him. He's like gonna play, big minutes, 35-ish minutes. I don't know. He's just Brook Lopez, man. He'll probably get you 30 fantasy points. It's fine. Beasley's priced right. Crowder priced right now, but playable if you need like a last man in type deal. And then I don't know if I go to much else here on Milwaukee. Let's move on to Minnesota. So they're going to be on a back-to-back tonight, but it's a really good spot. I'm really, really high on Rudy Gobert. I've been jamming centers against Portland all season long. I mean, it's just a smash matchup. Should play close to 40 minutes in a competitive game. Going to get you a double-double. Good shot blocker. I really like Rudy Gobert for tournaments here, especially if he's low-owned. I think Cat's a decent option. Ant is still too cheap at 8.5K. I like him quite a bit. Mike Conley at 5K is too cheap. I think he stands out as a very solid value. McDaniels at 4.1K is playable as well if you need a cheap option. And then you're going to see some Kyle Anderson in the rotation. And I don't know if I go to anyone else, though. All right, moving on to Portland. Brogdon out. Scoot questionable. Duop Reith is probable. And Simons is probable as well. So Simons' first game back since the 8th. I would assume he's not on a limit here. We'll see. But assuming no limit, he's going to be their do-it-all guy. He's going to play close to 40 minutes. He's going to do everything for this team. If they have any chance of keeping this game competitive, it's going to have to be a big game from Simons. I would say Grant at 7.8 is priced right with Simons back. Ayton at 7.3 in a really tough spot, I think is priced right. Scoot, same thing. Walker, his rates at the 4 compared to the 5 are much worse. He's priced right. And then I don't know if I go to much else here. With Brogdon out, they probably go with the starting lineup of Simons, Grant, Ayton, Walker, and like a Thibault maybe. But yeah, pretty disgusting. Main interest here is Simons and possibly whoever starts. Moving on to Sacramento. Sabonis has been on an absolute tear of late. He's been playing huge minutes. I really like Sabonis going up against Phoenix. I think he stands out as another really, really good spend up. Fox at 8K does seem a bit too cheap as well. He's up, he's down. I would say Sabonis is definitely a bit more consistent, higher ceiling as well, but you're paying $2,000 more for him. But yeah, Fox at 8K does seem too cheap. And then I'm going to say it again. If you fade Malik Monk at this price point and he gets 30 minutes and he is popular, you are just going to be stone dead because he's going to smash. Of late, it's been Malik Monk getting extended and Kevin Huerter's minutes getting slashed. Who's to say that Kevin Huerter plays more tomorrow and Malik Monk gets his minutes slashed? So it's kind of like you're mixing a yo-yo here. So if say Malik Monk is popular and you want to pivot, the easiest pivot in the world is just playing Kevin Huerter and just praying to God that he gets extended, right? Because if he gets extended and he plays his normal minutes of 30 plus, he's going to smash at this price point. So tough to say right there, but I will say if you fade Monk and he is popular and he does get extended, he is going to nuke at that price point. Keegan Murray I do like at 5.1K. He's a guy that's normally going to play around 30 minutes no matter what. But there have been times where they played him, 25 to 30 or 35 plus. I still think regardless, if he only plays 25 minutes at this price point, he is going to be a decent option. And then Harrison Barnes is playable, but I think I prefer Keegan Murray. Trey Lyles is a playable value as well. His minutes have ticked up. I don't mind him. Good point per minute guy too. Moving on to Phoenix. So, the main guys I think all look fine. We got a quote last game that they were going to play Royce, I believe it was Royce O'Neal in small extended stints. I guess we'll see what they do. But with that being said, I think, the main guys in Grayson, Eric Gordon, I think there's other value that I'd just rather get to. I think in this spot, in a pace-up spot, I think all three of the main guys look pretty good in Beal, Booker, Kevin Durant. Trying to figure out which one's going to have the big game, though. Kind of tough. I would say my favorite is probably going to be Booker, but no strong leans there. I think they're all decent options. I'm not going to touch this value. Just disgusting. All right, moving on to Detroit. So, still not sure if the Knicks guys that got traded here are going to be available or not. Let me see if we got anything on that. Last I looked, I did not see. Okay, Quentin Grimes out. Cool. That was 5 minutes ago. So last game we got a starting lineup of Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Ozzer Thompson, and Mike Muscala. Keep an eye on that. They could change things up. They could just start Simone instead of Muscala. But with that being said, even if Muscala starts, basically going to be a spot start. He's not going to play much. They're going to give the bulk of the minutes to like Simone and Ozzer Thompson and the main guy. So with that being said, I love Cade Cunningham at 7.8K going up against the Lakers. One of my favorite plays on the slate. I absolutely love him. I think Duren's a decent option at 7.1K as well. I'm really high on Jaden Ivey too. I really like both the guards here for Detroit. I think Ozzer Thompson's a good value at 4.9K. Stat sheet stuffer, good rebounder. He's been getting around 30 minutes of late. I like him for value. I think Simone at 4.7 is a solid option too. I think I prefer getting to Ozzer though. You're going to see some Sasser in the rotation as well. Don't think I'll go there. And then, with Grimes, Flynn, Fournier all out, you're going to see some Shake Milton and Troy Brown Jr., but I'm not going to those guys. All right, moving on to the Lakers. So it's a god spot. Like I said, I think Anthony Davis is one of my favorite spend ups on the slate. He should just be able to feast here. Definitely some blowout risk, but I love AD. I think LeBron's a good option too, but I always just prefer going to AD. D'Lo's playable, but I do give the edge to like Cade and Jaden Ivey. Same with Austin Reeves. Dinwiddie's going to remain out, and a guy I like for value is Rui Hachimura. His minutes have ticked way up of late, so I like Rui for value. Prince's minutes are ticking down, so I'm not going to go to him. And I don't like much else. So that's going to wrap it up for the slate. I hope you guys have a great night tonight, and I will talk to y'all in the next one.